X-Men number 137, special double-size issue. We are introduced to the Watcher. He's a member of a race that beholds the wonders of the universe. They observe but never interfere, and he has witnessed the entire life of Jean Grey from her birth to her death to her rebirth as Phoenix. She's since regained her humanity, but right after the X-Men disappeared from the face of Earth and reappeared at the Shi'ar Empire, where Princess Lilandra plans to hold Jean Grey accountable for her crimes. Scott's like, Lilandra, what the fuck? We're your friends. Why did you kidnap us? She says Phoenix must be destroyed. Scott's like, she helped you with the Macron crystal and she helped you get your throne. What the fuck are you talking about? And Lilandra fills the X-Men in on the fact that the Phoenix destroyed an entire star system and committed the genocide of its 5 billion inhabitants. And to that, the X-Men are all like, oh, we didn't know that. Jean, did you really do that? And she remembers doing it, but she's just barely processing the fact that any of this just happened to her while she was inhabited by the Phoenix Force. Lilandra says, I'm sorry, we have to take her, but Professor Xavier, who lived here for a while, says, wait, Jean Grey, Arnon Halar, which means I challenge you to a duel of honor. And he knows that the Shi'ar can't refuse this challenge. So basically, the X-Men are going to fight for Jean's life, and Beast, for one, is pissed because he didn't sign up for this, and Professor Xavier had no right to sign him up for it. But Lilandra assures him that she's going to give them a fair fight, and she's going to give them the night to rest and relax, and they can do the battle in the morning. And so the X-Men are set up in some pretty reasonable overnight accommodations, but Beast is not alone in his concerns. Angel and Nightcrawler also feel a little bit of doubt about defending her after she just committed genocide. Wolverine does not feel that doubt. He's completely able to separate Jean from the Phoenix, and he knows that Jean would never have done that if the Phoenix wasn't in her, and he's willing to defend her to the death. Colossus feels the same way. Jean is like a sister to him, and he's ready to defend her to the death. Jean is like a sister to Storm too, and so she gets over the fact that she abhors the actions of the Phoenix, and she's ready to defend Jean. Beast has some time to take a bubble bath and chill, and he really would prefer a proper trial. He thinks the trial by combat is barbaric, and the fact that Lilandra's about to behave as barbarically as he deems Jean to have just behaved, he's like, well, I'm not going to stand with Lilandra, so I guess I'm on the side of Jean. And then a masseuse walks in, she's like, I'm ready for you. He's like, oh. Jean wants to be left alone, but she does request that the Dabari people make her a special battle outfit, which they oblige. Scott is also wrestling back and forth between if he feels good about what they're doing. He can see Lilandra's side because she's the leader of this nation and he's the leader of his team. He gets that she's doing what she has to do for her people, but he's also like, I'm way more merciful than Lilandra, and I wouldn't be that way, and it wouldn't go down this way if it were me. And then Jean walks in. He can tell that she walks in because they're still psychically connected. He goes, Jean, you're reading my mind. And she's like, yeah, and I heard what you said, and that you're not giving up on me. And he goes, you're dressed as Marvel Girl. And she's like, yeah, I don't know if it's nostalgia or what, but if I'm gonna go out, this is how I want to go out. And they kiss. Later, the X-Men are transported to the blue area of the moon, a crater deep beneath the lunar surface that harbors an Earth-normal environment where they can all breathe. Jean scans the area and she sees that they're alone. Cyclops says they won't be for long. And like clockwork, the Imperial Guards appear. Angel says, I'm gonna fly over there and get some quick licks in real fast. And Scott's like, no, there's lighter gravity here. There's no atmosphere outside of the crater. Why are you flying around? And before he realizes it, he does get swept up in the cold, atmosphereless area of space, and he can't breathe, and so he collapses and starts falling back down to the moon. Storm flies over to catch him, and she's like, fuck, we gotta be careful. We can't just fly around like normal here. The lighter gravity carries us farther and faster. And Warren feels dumb, but he's not a part of this team. He hasn't trained with them, and this team has gotten very good at working together, and he just hasn't been a part of that. Colossus and Wolverine ask what the plan is. Scott says we're splitting up in 2 teams, and we're hiding behind these ruins. We're gonna try to take out these Imperial Guards one at a time. Scott's team is attacked by Starbolt. Beast's team is attacked by Warstar. Gladiator shows up and throws Storm and Wolverine off course, and they're attacked by Earthquake. And the shaking ground throws Wolverine straight through this crystal wall of this building that looks totally different from everything else there. And with Wolverine gone, Aurora gets taken out. Then Angel, then Nightcrawler. Wolverine wakes up in that crystal palace, and he's like, where the fuck am I? He's walking around, and he sees this huge face. He's like, who the fuck are you? He goes, I'm the Watcher. This is my domicile, and you have no business in here. I'm the guardian of time, and I could hurl you into the past or the future. Get out. The next X-Man to fall is Beast, and then Gladiator and Colossus duke it out for a really long time. It seems like they're very evenly matched until they've destroyed all of the buildings around them. It's just rubble in the crater on top of them now. But Gladiator emerges victorious, and Professor Xavier is watching telepathically, and he's heartbroken. And so is Lilandra, but she has to do what's right for her people. She cannot comfort him. Scott and Jean are the last ones standing. Ollie's got his optic blast to keep people away, and she's got her telekinesis to keep them hidden. The powers of the Phoenix Force have been caged within her mind by the professor, so they take this moment in hiding to just kind of tell each other they love each other. She says, I know how you feel, I can read it in your mind. And they take this moment and they make their last stand against the people trying to kill her, but the terror of the attack awakens the Phoenix Force within her. And Lilandra's like, if we fail this mission, destroy this entire star system. Get rid of all of these people. And Professor Xavier sees what's happening, and he goes inside of Cyclops' mind, and he's like, kill the Phoenix right now while she's relatively weak. And he's like, I can't do that. And he does let out a side blast against the building next to her to drop a bunch of piles of masonry and steel on top of her, and it does kind of like knock her down to her knees for a while, and she's like, that's exactly what I wanted you to do. The professor has gotten inside of every X-Man's head and woken them up from being knocked out because they need to fight. Wolverine tells Colossus that they need to pull a fastball special, especially because they're here in space and everybody's moving further and faster because of gravity, so he throws Peter. Peter turns into metal and he punches Jean Grey, but he pulls his punch because he loves her, so it doesn't kill her, but honestly it knocks some sense back into her, and she's like, I know now what I need to do, thank you. She realizes that as long as she's alive, the Phoenix Force is going to manifest itself through her, and she says, kill me. Scott's like, no, it doesn't have to be this way, and Jean grabs him so that he cannot stop her, and she puts herself in front of this laser cannon thing, and she tells him, I remember killing those 5 billion people. I can feel it coursing through me that I want the Phoenix to take back over, and I can't let myself slip again, and if even one more person dies at my hands, it's honestly better that I just die right now. And so she keeps him away from her. He says, Jean, don't do it, and she forces the laser to kill her. The Recorder asks the Watcher why they had to kill Jean Grey. The Watcher tells the Recorder that because of Homo sapiens' primal instincts, Jean Grey was not able to keep the dark side of the Phoenix in control, but Jean Grey was able to choose to give her life and to die a human rather than become a god.